What's going on, guys? Crispy Flakes here, and today we are repicking the 2011 star-studded NBA draft. And when I say star-studded, I'm talking about Kyrie Irving, Klay Thompson, Kawhi Leonard, and Kemba Walker kind of coming down that road too. He's been playing very well, and a lot of other great players out here. And basically what we're going to be doing, guys, we got all the draft people here from this draft, and we are going to be doing the first 10 picks and repicking them based kind of off of the things we know now, and also kind of about what kind of player the team was looking for at that time, or what they should have went for. So let's get it going here, guys, and be sure to like this video if you want some more of these redraft videos, and also let me know in the comment section below what other drafts you want me to do. Let's get it started. The 2011 NBA draft. It says 16. It always says that because I can't change it. But here we go. As you guys can see, we got the correct first top 10 picks. Don't worry about the rest of them. Here we have the number 1 pick on the clock, the Cleveland Cavaliers. This is when LeBron James was actually gone on the Miami Heat. So looking at their team right here, they got a few point guards in Mo Williams and Baron Davis. Now at this point, Mo Williams was kind of on suicide watch because he was pretty sad that LeBron James left the team. And besides for that, you got Antoine Jamison, who just didn't really live up to be that, that Robin role, Robin to the Batman, when LeBron James was here. So really, when LeBron James left, this is just like the freaking crypts of what's left of this team here. So what I'm looking at, I'm thinking the best player to choose in this scenario now, that based off what we know now, is a replacement for LeBron James. Arguably the best two-way player in the league, offensively and defensively, on the San Antonio Spurs, was actually drafted by the Pacers. You all know who I'm going to pick. With the number 1 pick in the 2011 NBA draft, we select Kawhi Leonard, going to the Cleveland Cavaliers. I think this is a great pick for this team. It really just makes sense, in this scenario to take Kawhi Leonard. You can argue who the number 1 pick is, but the way Kawhi's been playing over the past few seasons, this guy really is something special. And I know a big part of it is that he's on San Antonio Spurs and he has a great coaching staff. But you also have to attune some of it to just his heart and his passion for the game of basketball. So that's why I went with Kawhi Leonard at number 1. Number 2, we have the Minnesota Timberwolves on the clock. Looking at the team needs right here, they have Kevin Love at this point, and we all know he was putting up beastly numbers out there. Michael Beasley also was still a pretty decent player. They have Ricky Rubio, but also it's not shown on here. They also had Johnny Flynn, who was another point guard they drafted. So for that reason, I'm not going to draft another point guard because they drafted 2 the prior season, or within the past 1 or 2 seasons. So they really have that set for developing those type of guys. But what I don't see on this team is not really a decent shooting guard. A guy that can score or play defense. They got Darko, so that's an L right there, man. Just get rid of him. And I'm thinking the best pick in this scenario, and really this is up to you guys to debate, it's between the 2 shooting guards, Klay Thompson, and somewhere on the list here, all the way down here, is Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler, guys. So it comes down to the debate if you think Jimmy Butler or Klay Thompson's better for this scenario here. Really, either one's fine with me, but I think I'm going to go with Jimmy Butler just because he can also bring more defense. Although, Klay Thompson I think is also a very underrated defender. But I think with the number 2 pick in this draft, going to the Minnesota Timberwolves to team up with Kevin Love is going to be Jimmy Butler. Yeah, we can go with that. I don't know, it just feels right, man. Klay Thompson, him and Steph Curry, what they do on the Golden State Warriors is pretty crazy itself. But here we go, number 3 pick, Utah Jazz. The Utah Jazz, with this 3rd pick, they actually took Enes Kanter at this point. Going to the team needs here. Looking at what they have. They do have Darren Williams still on this team. I believe it was either this season or the season after that he actually went to the Brooklyn Nets. So I don't really remember that all that much. But they also have Al Jefferson, a good young big guy, Paul Millsap, who was up and coming in this league, Andre Kirilenko, who was kind of on the decline, Gordie Hayward, a good young talent they drafted out of Butler. So, Jimmy Butler, Gordon Hayward is actually more of a small forward position, so we all know that he transitions to that end eventually. So what I'm thinking is we want a good, solid shooting guard to put in the backcourt with Darren Williams to keep him happy. A sharp shooter, a guy that, Darren Williams can penetrate the basket, dip it off to Al Jefferson, or kick it out for that 3-ball. So y'all know who I'm going to pick right here, guys. With the 3rd pick, going to Utah Jazz, I'm going to select Klay Thompson. I think it's a good fit right there, man. I think Klay Thompson, this guy is insane. You all saw some of his games where he dropped 37 points in a quarter or something like that. Wow, that's actually probably the best player The player designs are not all that great, but it's really hard to, actually replicate their actual faces. This one actually looks really good to me, if you ask me. I mean, there's only so much you can do with the player creations on this game. Number 4 pick, we all know that the Cleveland Cavaliers had another pick right here, and at this point they actually took Tristan Thompson, but we already kind of know what this team's looking like. Like I said, Mo Williams was kind of on the decline. I mean, he was just kind of not really in a good place. Baron Davis, they ended up bringing him onto this team. He didn't really do much for the Cleveland Cavaliers. So what I'm thinking is we're actually going to take who the number 1 pick was in this draft. And I think the best pick for this spot, and number 4, bringing a good young point guard from Duke, Kyrie Irving. Uncle Drew, man. Uncle Drew. Really, he could have went number 1 also, but Kawhi Leonard, man. Like, if they would have got, just think about it, the Cavaliers could have got Kawhi Leonard and Kyrie Irving from this draft, or they could have got Kyrie Irving and Klay Thompson. Can you imagine Klay Thompson on the Cleveland Cavaliers right now? Okay, we got the 5th pick right here, the Toronto Raptors. They took Jonas Valanciunas with this pick. Looking at the team needs. They don't really have their point guard at this point. That was kind of a pun, kind of. They have Andreas Bargnani, who 4 years pro at this point, man. He was really showing that he wasn't really worth that place where he was drafted. Well, he's like number 1 overall, wasn't he? Yeah, he was back in 2006. He was the first pick overall. They have a good young shooting guard in DeMar DeRozan, and they have Jose Calderon, who is a serviceable point guard, good assist turnover ratio. Leandro Barbosa's okay. Not really much else on this team. I mean, just a lot of good role players. So what they're really looking for is a point guard to team up with DeRozan in the future. Unfortunately, Kyle Lowry I do not believe was in this draft, so he is not going to be the player we're taking right here, although they did get a good pickup with him. But I'm going to go with this pick. There's a lot of good point guards, guys. A lot of good point guards. It really was hard to decide between Kemba Walker and Isaiah Thomas. Isaiah Thomas and Reggie Jackson even. But Isaiah Thomas did make the All-Star team this year, so I'm going to give him the nod. Number 5, the Toronto Raptors, teaming up with DeMar DeRozan in the backcourt, Isaiah Thomas. Like the 5'9", 5'10" dude who's just been killing the NBA. And the thing, did you guys know that he was actually the last pick in this draft? He was pick number 60 from Washington, guys. That is insane. Like, talk about like high risk or high reward, low risk or whatever. I mean, Celtics got to steal. That's all I'm going to say about that. All right, now we have the Washington Wizards, who took John Vesely. I can't pronounce his name because I don't think he does anything in the NBA anymore. But looking at their team needs right here, they have John Wall, good young point guard, 3 years in the league at this point. Gilbert Arenas, who, after some things going on, man, he's still looking to make a comeback with his career. I think it was actually towards like the tail end of his career with the Wizards before he like busted out the guns in the locker room or something like that. And they have Andre Blatch, who is right, Swaggy P, decent, JaVale McGee, Shaqtin' Fool. So I'm really looking at this team really needs a good young center, because JaVale McGee sure is decent, but I don't really think he was ever going to turn into nothing special. So I'm thinking with this pick, they want to take a good center, a guy that they can run the pick and roll with John Wall, the guy that John Wall can dip it into, and all that good stuff out there. With this pick, I'm thinking the best center to take, man, and I'm going to say Bismack Biyombo has been playing great. He played great in the Eastern Conference Finals against the Cleveland Cavaliers, and his Kanter's pretty good. But I really think Jonas Valanciunas, I think this is the direction to go. You guys can argue with me. And his Kanter's also up there. Is one of those guys, but I do like Jonas Valanciunas' game, so I'm going to take him with this pick, going to the Washington Wizards. All right. And, my bad. From Lithuania, the 7-footer, man. Like, he's definitely made some strides in this league. Now we have this pick here, the Charlotte Hornets. It was actually the Charlotte Bobcats at the time. Looking at their team needs, what do they need exactly? They have Steven Jackson, who was pretty old at this point. DJ Augustine, young point guard, guy they drafted, and, decent. But a whole bunch of trash on this team, to be honest. A whole bunch of not-so-good players. So they really need to bring a scorer into this team. And I'm actually going to repeat history here once again. And with this pick, I have the Charlotte Hornets taking a player who's really turned around this franchise and is going to do a lot of good things in the future, and that is Kemba Walker, going back to the Bobcats, Hornets, or whatever you want to call him at this point. He just, he's like 85 overall in this game right now, so he definitely is proven to be a good scorer. I would actually want my Pistons to take him in this draft back in the day, but they didn't, so that was kind of disappointing. But now we have my Detroit Pistons right here with the 8th pick, and looking at their team needs right here, they have Rip Hamilton, Tracy McGrady, washed up at this point, Ronnie Stuckey, washed up Ben Wallace, Ben Gordon, and Charlie V, who just stole so much money from this team, this franchise. Greg Monroe, who was a good young power forward at this point, and, actually turned out to be a really decent player. But as you see, they don't really have a point guard on this team. So they definitely need that. And the player I'm going to take, the point guard I'm going to take with this pick is, there's Brandon Knight. He's there, but I'm actually going to go with Reggie Jackson, who actually ends up coming to the Detroit Pistons in the future. I really do like him as a player. I think early on in his career, he did need to learn how to be a backup before he could learn how to be a starter. But overall, I think he's a good, solid point guard. I'm going to take him with this 8th pick to my Detroit Pistons. And like I said, I mean, there was some other good guys out there too. But just based off what I know now, I do like Reggie Jackson as a point guard. He's putting up pretty good numbers. And I think he's going to have a pretty good season next year with the Detroit Pistons. Number 9, we have the Charlotte Bobcats, Charlotte Hornets on here once again. And we just took Kemba Walker with them. Now, I want to take a guy that can, because, Boris Diaw, yeah, he's fine. He's good. But I want a guy that can run the pick and roll with Kemba Walker, a guy can throw it down, grab rebounds, just really a good hustler on this team. You look at this team, not a lot of scrappy guys out here, so I definitely want to get a scrappy player. And the player I'm going to take is with the 9th overall pick. I mean, I was thinking about Enes Kanter, maybe Bismack Biyombo, maybe Tristan Thompson. He got a lot of money though, man. That dude got a ridiculous contract, but I'm actually going to take Kenneth Faried. I kind of forgot about him at first. Like, when I was first looking at this drafting, I was like, Kenneth Faried, yeah, he's actually a really great player, man. So I'm going to take him with this 9th pick, going to the Charlotte Bobcats alongside Kemba Walker. I mean, he doesn't really bring much offensively as far as, like, jump shooting and stuff like that. Not much of a post game, but he crashes the boards. He does all the dirty work and is a guy you really want on your team, especially, if you don't have a lot of good, tough guys out there. So we got this last pick right here. Pick traded to the Sacramento Kings from the Milwaukee Bucks. This pick was actually Jimmer at this point. Could you guys believe that Jimmer was drafted before Klay Thompson and Kawhi Leonard and really a lot of players, man? I love Jimmer, don't get me wrong, but come on, man. And at this point, they have Tyreek Evans, DeMarcus Cousins, Bano Udrif. Yeah, not really a big fan of his. So really the big 2 players is Tyreek at shooting guard and DeMarcus Cousins at center. They need a good scorer out there, a good point guard that can really hit the jump shots, because Tyreek was not much of a jump shooter, to be honest. And maybe a guy that can run pick and roll with DeMarcus Cousins. I'm thinking the best pick right here is definitely a point guard. And the point guard I'm looking at, let me just make sure I'm not skipping over anybody, man. I mean, Chandler Parsons is still there. He probably could have gone top 10. A lot of good players here, man. But I already think I know who I'm taking at this point. With number 10 pick, currently on the Phoenix Suns, I'm going to select Brandon Knight, who was selected by my Detroit Pistons number 8. Not really a big fan of his, but I mean, I gotta be honest, he's a good scorer. He does get dunked on a lot. He just get on top 10 Sports Center, not top 10 playlists or whatnot. Yeah, number 10, Brandon Knight. It could have been somebody else. But anyway, guys, hope you all enjoyed this video. Let me know what you guys think about this draft, and give me your draft predictions in the comment section below. And peace out, my friends.